What happens when the years pile up, when the body falters and the spirit still yearns for something lost? What did it feel like to watch time strip away youth and strength in a world so different from our own, between the 5th and 15th centuries? Number 9. The Pardoner's Tale. Geoffrey Chaucer. In the vivid tapestry of Geoffrey Chaucer's The Canterbury Tales, where a diverse group of pilgrims shares stories on their journey to Canterbury, one figure delivers a tale that takes an unexpected turn, revealing a profound and chilling vision of old age. This is the Pardoner, a character whose own dubious morality contrasts sharply with the surprising depth of his narrative. His tale, ostensibly a moral lesson against greed, introduces a character who is not greedy, but rather burdened by a relentless and unshakable desire for death. This figure is an old man encountered by 3 drunken rioters bent on finding and slaying death itself. The rioters, consumed by their own youthful arrogance and drunken bravado, confront the old man, their words dripping with disrespect. They demand to know why he is still alive, why he has not yet succumbed to the very death they seek to annihilate. Their youthful vigor, though misdirected and destructive, highlights the stark contrast with the man's weary existence. The old man is not merely aged, he is a living testament to the relentless passage of time, a figure whose very presence embodies the ravages of years endured. His description is not just about physical decay, it is about a profound, almost existential weariness that permeates his entire being. He describes himself as one who has wandered the earth for a long, long time, an outcast from youth and vitality. His body, he tells them, is entirely covered save for his face, but he is withered and dry. He compares his skin to the earth itself, asking the ground to open up and receive him, to reclaim him as dust. He has knocked on the earth, his mother, with his staff, begging for entrance, begging for the rest that death alone can provide. His words are not a lament of pain or suffering in the physical sense, but a deep aching weariness of life itself. He longs for the finality of the grave, for the peace that comes with cessation of existence. This old man carries a staff, a simple, everyday object, but in his hands it transforms into a symbol of his desperate search. He points it towards the ground as if testing the earth's willingness to embrace him like a tired child seeking a mother's comfort. His hair, long and white, is not depicted as a crown of wisdom, but as a sign of decay, a stark white against the dark backdrop of his endless journey. He has journeyed, he implies, to every country, to every land. Yet nowhere has he found the person who would trade youth for his old age. He has no desire to hold on to life, no joy in its continuation, only a persistent longing for its end. His speech is filled with a sense of isolation. He finds no one, not even a child, who will exchange their vibrant youth for his withered existence. This speaks to the universal human dread of aging, a recognition that while life is cherished, the extreme end of life, devoid of companionship and purpose, can be a burden. The old man represents this burden not as a victim, but as a perpetual seeker of release. He is a walking echo of time's relentless march, a personification of the weariness that comes with prolonged existence. The rioters, in their crude and disrespectful manner, call him an old fool, a babbler. They see only his physical weakness, his apparent uselessness. They fail to grasp the profound existential anguish that defines his existence. They are blind to the wisdom or perhaps the terrible truth he carries. He is a stark counterpoint to their youthful arrogance and their pursuit of immediate, tangible pleasures. While they chase after death with swords and bravado, he quietly, desperately seeks it as a release, a final solace. The poignant aspect of this description lies in its reversal of expectations. Often, old age in medieval literature is depicted as a time of wisdom, of spiritual reflection, or of physical decline, leading to a dignified end. Here it is an unending purgatory, a state of being trapped between life and death. The old man is not a sage imparting profound knowledge. He is a living question mark, a testament to the fact that not all lives end in peaceful resolution. He embodies a type of old age that is a sustained state of longing, a persistent plea for rest. His final interaction with the rioters, where he directs them to a pile of gold beneath an oak tree, seems almost incidental to his true purpose. The gold which ultimately brings about the rioters' demise is merely a tool, a means by which the pardoner delivers his moral. But the old man himself remains the most compelling figure, a haunting image that lingers long after the tale concludes. He is a testament to an old age so extreme, so burdened by the very continuation of life, that it becomes an active, desperate quest for its cessation. He is the quiet, persistent voice of eternal weariness, a figure who has seen too much, lived too long, and now simply longs for the oblivion that youth so carelessly defies. His portrayal is not just about physical frailty, but about the profound emotional and spiritual exhaustion that can accompany a life prolonged beyond its desired limits, making his presence a truly poignant and unforgettable image. Number 8. Egil Skallagrimsson's Sonnetorek from Egil's Saga. Imagine a figure of immense strength and pride, a fierce Viking, warrior, and poet, brought to his knees, not by battle, but by an unbearable grief. This is Egil Skallagrimsson, protagonist of his own saga, a man whose life was a whirlwind of raids, poetic prowess, and political maneuvering. Yet, in one of the most powerful and heart-wrenching poems of the Old Norse tradition, Sonnetorek, or Loss of Sons, Egil lays bare the profound sorrow and physical toll that old age, coupled with immense loss, inflicts upon him. This poem, embedded within Egil's saga, provides an intimate and devastating glimpse into the vulnerability that even the mightiest can experience when faced with the relentless march of time and tragedy. Egil, by the time he composes Sonnetorek, is an old man. He has outlived most of his contemporaries, including his beloved sons Bodvar and Thorgils. The poem is a raw, uncensored outpouring of grief following the death of Bodvar, who drowned. This loss is compounded by the earlier death of Thorgils in infancy, further emphasizing the cumulative weight of sorrow on an aging heart. Egil describes his body as failing, his strength abandoning him. His mighty frame, once capable of wielding a sword with fearsome skill, now feels like a hollow vessel, a burden he can barely carry. He speaks of his kinprop, his family support being broken. The metaphorical tree of his lineage has been felled, its roots torn from the earth. This imagery extends to his own physical being. He describes his body as being worn out, his sinews slack and his bones aching. The descriptions are vivid and visceral, detailing the physical manifestations of old age and deep sorrow. His once sharp senses are dulled. His vision dims and his hearing falters. The vigor that defined his youth and middle age has completely evaporated, leaving him frail and diminished. Egil, a master of skaldic poetry, uses his formidable poetic skill to articulate his suffering. He laments the absence of his sons, the future generations that should have carried on his legacy. The world, once vibrant and full of opportunity, now seems bleak and empty. He refers to himself as bereft of joy, his heart heavy and cold. This emotional desolation is intricately tied to his physical decline. The grief, he implies, has aged him prematurely, stripping away not just his joy, but his very vitality. The poem reveals a man who, despite his reputation for strength and stoicism, is utterly overwhelmed by his circumstances. He feels trapped in his aging body, which has become a constant reminder of his losses. His description of his breath as failing and his strength dwindling evokes a sense of suffocation, a slow ebbing away of life's essence. This is not the noble decline of a wise elder, but the agonizing surrender of a once powerful individual to the combined forces of age and sorrow. His words paint a picture of isolation. He feels alone in his grief despite the presence of others. The world continues around him, but he is disconnected, adrift in his own personal void. The poetic lines speak of his house feeling empty, the absence of his sons creating a void that no one else can fill. His physical decline is intertwined with this emotional emptiness. His failing body is a mirror to his broken spirit. Egil even speaks of the difficulty of composing the poem itself. He describes his tongue as heavy and his mouth stiff. This meta-commentary highlights the effort required for an old grief-stricken man to articulate such profound pain. It adds another layer of poignancy, emphasizing that even his artistic prowess, once so effortless, is now a struggle against the limitations of his aging body and shattered spirit. He struggles to form the words, to weave the verses, a testament to the deep physical and emotional exhaustion he endures. The beauty of Sonatorek lies in its raw honesty. Egil does not sugarcoat his suffering or present a romanticized view of old age. Instead, he confronts it head-on, exposing the brutal realities of physical decay and the devastating impact of loss. He describes his eyes as being clouded by tears, not just from weeping, but from the physical weakening of his sight. His hands, once strong and capable, now tremble. His once powerful voice, used to command and to create poetry, is now hoarse and broken. This poem is a stark reminder that old age can be a period of immense vulnerability, where past glories fade, and the present is dominated by loss and physical decay. Egil Skallagrimsson, the formidable warrior, transforms into a figure of profound human frailty, his dignity stripped away by the relentless tide of time and an unbearable sorrow. His lament is not just for his sons, but for his own lost youth and strength, for the self that has been irrevocably altered by the passage of years and the crushing weight of grief. The poem ends not with solace, but with a poignant acceptance of his bleak reality, making it a powerful and enduring portrayal of old age as a period of profound physical and emotional burden. Number 7. The Ruin, the Exeter Book. Among the precious manuscripts of Anglo-Saxon England preserved in the Exeter Book lies a haunting Old English elegy known as The Ruin. This poem does not describe a specific old person, but rather an old place, a magnificent, decaying Roman city, now reduced to crumbling stones and silent desolation. Yet the poem imbues this ruined city with the characteristics of old age, painting a vivid picture of decay, loss, and the relentless passage of time. The poignancy comes from the contemplation of what once was, contrasted with the stark reality of what remains. It is a profound meditation on impermanence, reflecting a distinctly medieval sense of melancholy over lost glories. The poem begins by marveling at the strength and beauty of the ancient structures. The walls are described as stone strong, high-gabled, and broad-based. The poet speaks of the giant's work, acknowledging the immense effort and skill that went into building such a grand city. This initial awe establishes the former glory, setting the stage for the stark contrast that follows. The city once bustled with life, with feasting halls, baths, and proud warriors. It was a place of vibrant activity, a center of power and artistry. But now the wondrous wall stone has fallen. The strongholds are shattered, and the roofs have collapsed. The imagery is one of catastrophic destruction, not sudden but gradual, a slow, inevitable surrender to the elements and the indifference of time. The frost has bitten hard into the mortar. The buildings are broken and decayed. The once glorious arches are now unroofed, and the towers have toppled. The city is depicted as having suffered from the decay of ages. The poem uses personification to describe this decay, giving the city human characteristics of age and frailty. The giants, the builders of the city, are long gone, their joyful sounds silenced. The baths, once steaming and warm, are now cold and desolate. their hot springs having cooled to ruin. The image of the heated baths, a symbol of luxury and civilization now standing cold and broken, strongly evokes the loss of youthful vigor and comfort. The once bustling halls where feasts were held and wine was drunk are now empty and silent, their roofs shattered. The ramparts are broken, the stones scattered. The high gate towers are dismantled. This is a description of physical degradation where once intact structures are now fragmented and dispersed. The poem speaks of the ancient work of giants, emphasizing the passage of countless generations since its construction. The gabled roofs that once sheltered a thriving community are now broken, exposing the interior to the harsh elements. The poet laments the absence of the inhabitants, the bold warriors and bright-faced maidens who once populated these grand halls. Their laughter, their songs, their very presence have vanished. The city is now a heap of rubble, a silent witness to the passage of time. The bright homes are now dark. This highlights the social aspect of aging and decline. A once vibrant community is now gone, leaving behind only the shells of its former existence. The poignancy arises from this sense of profound emptiness, the silence where there was once clamor, the decay where there was once splendor. The red tile that once adorned the walls is now rusted and worn. The great halls are now empty. The stones themselves seem to weep, or at least bear the scars of relentless weathering. The high arch that once stood proud is now broken. Its support gone, the walls are stained with blood, a vague reference to battles or conflicts, adding another layer of lost life and violence to the sense of decay. The poem concludes with a lingering sense of melancholy and a quiet acceptance of the inevitable. The city, like an old person, has lived its life, seen its glory, and now slowly succumbs to the relentless forces of nature and time. There is no hope of restoration, only the quiet contemplation of what once was and what now is. The splendid cities of the past are now silent. The stonework is cold, no longer echoing with the warmth of human life. The great walls are broken, their purpose lost. The ruin serves as a powerful reminder of the transient nature of human endeavor and the ultimate triumph of time. It presents old age not as a personal experience, but as a universal force that affects even the most enduring creations. The city, once vibrant and alive, is now a desolate testament to impermanence. Its crumbling walls and silent halls are a poignant reflection of what it means for something grand and vital to slowly, inexorably surrender to the weariness of ages, leaving behind only echoes of its former glory and a deep sense of loss. It is a profound meditation on the inevitability of decay, mirroring the physical and social decline, often associated with extreme old age. Number 6. Ulysses Dante Alighieri's Inferno. Within the fiery depths of the eighth circle of hell in Dante Alighieri's Inferno, a figure emerges from the flames, his story a testament to the unyielding human spirit, but also a poignant reflection on the dangers and allure of ambition. This is Ulysses, the cunning hero of the Trojan War, condemned among the fraudulent counselors. While his punishment is for deceit, his story recounted from within the flame focuses on his final ill-fated voyage, undertaken in his extreme old age. It is a powerful and unsettling depiction of an elderly man driven by an insatiable hunger for knowledge and experience, pushing past the natural boundaries of life and risking everything for one last grand adventure. Dante and Virgil see two souls intertwined in a single flame, and one of them is revealed to be Ulysses. It is not the Ulysses of the Trojan War, the strong and adaptable warrior, but an older, perhaps even more restless version of himself. He recounts how, after his long journey home to Ithaca, he found no lasting peace or contentment in domestic life. The desire to explore, to push the limits of human knowledge and experience, was too strong to be extinguished by the comforts of home and family. He describes this urge as a burning passion to gain experience of the world. Ulysses leaves behind his family, his aging father, his wife, and his young son, all for this final, desperate voyage. He gathers his small band of aging companions, men who are themselves old and slow. He uses his famed eloquence, his little speech, to stir their dormant spirits, to remind them of their shared past, their moments of valor, and the fleeting nature of their lives. He urges them not to deny themselves the opportunity to explore the unpeopled world behind the sun, a realm beyond the known boundaries of human navigation, the Pillars of Hercules. He frames this journey not as an act of hubris, but as a noble pursuit. He tells them they were not made to live like brutes, but to pursue virtue and knowledge. This powerful appeal resonates with his aging crew, who despite their years are swayed by his words. This highlights a poignant aspect of old age: the potential for a renewed sense of purpose, even if that purpose leads to peril. These men at the end of their lives are willing to embark on a journey into the unknown, drawn by the promise of ultimate discovery. The description of their journey is filled with a sense of both awe and impending doom. They sail west beyond the known world for 5 months. They see new stars, and their hearts are filled with a strange mixture of fear and exhilaration. Ulysses' drive is relentless, his spirit unyielding. He pushes his men and himself further than anyone has ever dared to venture. This boundless ambition, unchecked by the wisdom that often accompanies age, leads them towards their tragic end. Their destination, the unpeopled world, is ultimately revealed to be Mount Purgatory, a sacred place forbidden to mortals without divine guidance. They sight a mountain shrouded in mist, a land high and dark. Just as they glimpse this mysterious new land, a whirlwind rises from it, strikes their ship, and drags it and all its men down into the abyss. Ulysses and his crew, in their mad flight, are swallowed by the sea. Their quest for knowledge, their final surge of ambition in old age, leads not to triumph, but to absolute destruction. The poignancy of Ulysses' description of his old age lies in the contrast between his unyielding spirit and the inevitable limitations of mortality. He refuses to accept a quiet end, to spend his final years in comfortable retirement. Instead, he ignites a final desperate flame of ambition, dragging himself and his aged crew into the unknown. His yearning for knowledge is so profound that it overrides all other considerations, even the love of his family and the natural inclination towards safety in old age. His words from within the eternal flame carry a haunting resonance. He does not express regret for his ambition, but rather recounts the events with a sense of inevitability. He represents an old age that is not characterized by decline into passivity, but by a final explosive burst of will and a relentless pursuit of the unattainable. His journey, though ending in catastrophe, speaks to a powerful human desire to constantly transcend limits, even when those limits are imposed by the very passage of time. This depiction offers a unique perspective on old age, not merely as a period of physical decay or quiet wisdom, but as a potential crucible for heightened ambition and a final desperate reach for significance. Ulysses' tale is a cautionary one, but also a deeply human one, revealing the enduring power of ambition even when life's sands are running out, and the profound tragedy that can result from pushing too far too late. His end is not a gentle fading, but a fiery plunge, a final, poignant testament to a life lived and ended on his own fiercely determined terms. Number 5. King Arthur's Final Decline, Sir Thomas Malory's Le Morte d'Arthur. In the sweeping grandeur and tragic beauty of Sir Thomas Malory's Le Morte d'Arthur, the legendary King Arthur, once the epitome of chivalry and strength, faces a poignant and inevitable decline in his old age. His physical weakening is intertwined with the unraveling of his kingdom, the breaking of his fellowship, and the bitter end of his reign. Malory portrays Arthur's old age, not as a peaceful retreat, but as a period of profound sorrow, betrayal, and the crushing weight of a dream collapsing around him. The poignancy stems from watching a once invincible leader grapple with the loss of everything he built, culminating in a desperate final stand. As the narrative progresses towards its grim conclusion, the signs of Arthur's age become increasingly evident. The vibrant, youthful court of Camelot, once a beacon of hope and chivalry, gives way to internal strife, betrayals, and devastating wars. Arthur, who once presided over a unified and prosperous realm, now finds himself at the mercy of feuds, particularly the destructive conflict between Lancelot and Gawain, and the ultimate betrayal by his illegitimate son, Mordred. His body, once capable of great feats of arms, is no longer as resilient. Malory depicts Arthur as weary-burdened by the endless conflicts and the profound emotional pain of seeing his most trusted knights turn against each other. He expresses a deep sorrow for the impending destruction of his beloved Round Table, a fellowship he had dedicated his life to creating and upholding. The vigor of his youth is replaced by a profound melancholy, a weariness that seeps into his bones. During the final devastating battle of Camlan, Arthur's physical frailty is starkly contrasted with his enduring will. He fights with the desperation of a man who knows he is losing everything. He is wounded gravely, a mortal blow delivered by Mordred. Malory describes his weakened state. The king felt that he was wounded to the death. This is not the wound of a young warrior who might recover, but the fatal injury that signifies the end of a long and arduous life and a long and arduous reign. His body is failing, but his mind remains sharp, though clouded by sorrow. He laments the loss of his knights, the very foundation of his kingdom. He sends Sir Bedivere, his last loyal knight, to cast Excalibur back into the lake, a symbolic act of surrender to the inevitable. The sword, a symbol of his power and destiny, is returned, marking the end of his active reign in his life. Malory's depiction of Arthur's final moments on the battlefield is deeply moving. He is depicted as being carried away, weakened, and ultimately dying. The weight of his advanced years and the cumulative sorrow of his collapsing world bear down on him. His voice, once commanding armies, now speaks of regret and a haunting awareness of his impending demise. He is no longer the powerful, unyielding king, but a man broken by the weight of his responsibilities and the treachery of those he loved. The sense of an ending is palpable. The death blow to Arthur is also the death blow to an era, to an ideal. The decay of his body mirrors the decay of his kingdom. His once sharp vision is now dimmed, clouded by the dust of battle and the mists of his own failing life. His once strong arm, that had wielded Excalibur with unparalleled might, is now barely able to lift a shield. The weight of his armor, once a second skin, becomes an unbearable burden. The poignancy of Arthur's decline lies in the fact that he is not just losing his life, but his life's work. The aging king witnesses the undoing of all he fought to establish: justice, order, and fellowship. His body gives out as his dream collapses, making his physical end synonymous with the spiritual and political end of Camelot. He is an old man, weary and heartbroken, fighting a final battle he cannot win against forces both external and internal. His passing is shrouded in mystery, with the legend of him being carried away to Avalon, a place of healing, or perhaps eternal rest. Yet the immediate description is one of a king, broken, weakened, and ultimately succumbing to the ravages of war and the inexorable toll of time and betrayal. His old age is not a time of peaceful retirement or revered wisdom, but a culmination of loss, a desperate, final struggle against the forces that tear his world apart. Malory's depiction of King Arthur's final decline is a powerful and sorrowful portrayal of an old man bearing the crushing weight of a ruined legacy, making it a truly unforgettable and poignant moment. In medieval literature, number 4. The Old Man of the Mountain, Old Age as a Figure, Roman de la Rose. In the vast and influential allegorical poem Roman de la Rose, begun by Guillaume de Loris and continued by Jean de Meun, a striking and rather terrifying personification of old age, emerges as a central obstacle in the lover's quest for the rose. This figure, known as vieillesse, or old age, is not merely a description of an aged person, but an embodiment of the relentless, destructive power of time. Her portrayal is deeply poignant because she represents the inevitable fate awaiting everyone, a stark reminder of the decay that relentlessly strips away youth, beauty, and vitality. Vieillesse is depicted as a formidable and unyielding force, a decrepit woman whose very presence radiates decay and the slow, inexorable triumph of the years. She is presented as one of the allegorical figures guarding the rose, a symbol of love and feminine beauty, underscoring the idea that old age is a formidable barrier to youthful passion and earthly desires. Her role is to prevent the lover from reaching his object of affection, serving as a chilling reminder of how time extinguishes ardor and transforms the self. The poem describes her appearance in detail, highlighting the physical ravages that mark her. Her face is wrinkled, shriveled, and pale. Her skin is withered and dry like parchment. Her teeth are rotten or missing, and her breath is foul. Her hair is white and thin or altogether absent, a stark contrast to the luscious locks of youth. Her eyes are dim and sunken, reflecting a loss of keen sight and vibrancy. Her nose is long and pointed, her chin jutting out. Every feature speaks of decline and decomposition. Her body is bent and frail, stooped, sent kinking. She walks with difficulty, her steps slow and unsteady. She relies on a staff or a crutch for support, emphasizing her physical weakness and dependence. Her limbs are cold and stiff, ravaged by the coldness that seems to creep into the bones with age. She feels the constant chill, a lack of the inner warmth that characterizes youth. Her voice is hoarse and trembling, a shadow of its former self, unable to carry the melodies of youth. But the depiction of vieillesse goes beyond mere physical decay. She embodies the loss of all that is pleasurable and desirable in life. She is described as having lost her joy, her gaiety, and her laughter. Her spirit is no longer light and carefree. She is filled with sadness and melancholy. This reflects a medieval understanding of old age as a period of diminished sensual pleasure and increased spiritual contemplation, often tinged with sorrow for what has been lost. She is also associated with a loss of social standing and companionship. Her friends have died, her former lovers have abandoned her or are themselves gone. She lives in a state of isolation, a solitary figure bearing the cumulative burden of time. This highlights the social loneliness that could accompany old age in an era where life expectancy was shorter and communities were tightly knit. The poem makes it clear that vieillesse is an unstoppable force. She is not a person who can be reasoned with or defeated by force. She is an inevitable process, a natural law. She devours youth and beauty, leaving behind only the husk of what once was. The lover is warned that he too will one day become like her, unless he grasps the rose before it is too late. This provides a chilling urgency to the lover's quest. Knowing that time is a relentless enemy, her power lies in her ability to change people from within. She makes the body cold, the blood thin, and the skin flabby. She changes the very substance of a person, eroding their physical form and their emotional vibrancy. Her touch is depicted as chilling, a harbinger of the grave. She represents the final stage of life, the threshold before death, a process of dissolution rather than growth. The poignancy of vieillesse lies in her universality. She is not just a character in a story, but a mirror reflecting the future of every reader. Her grotesque features and desolate existence serve as a powerful reminder of the ephemeral nature of youth and beauty. She embodies the chilling truth that no one escapes the ravages of time. She is a figure of pity and dread, a personification of the ultimate human vulnerability to decay. The Roman de la Rose makes her a vivid, unforgettable embodiment of old age, as an inevitable, terrifying force that strips away everything desirable, leaving behind only the stark reality of decline. Number 3. Hrothgar Beowulf. In the ancient resonant verses of Beowulf, the epic poem of Anglo-Saxon England, the figure of King Hrothgar offers a deeply poignant portrayal of old age wisdom and the burden of prolonged suffering. He is not a warrior in the prime of his life, but an aged king, respected and revered, yet deeply afflicted by the relentless attacks of the monstrous Grendel. Hrothgar's old age is depicted as a time of accumulated sorrow, a profound weariness that has settled into his very bones, contrasting starkly with Beowulf's youthful vigor and heroic confidence. When Beowulf arrives in Denmark, Hrothgar is already an old man, a king who has reigned successfully for many years, building the magnificent mead hall, Heorot, a symbol of his power and generosity. Yet for 12 long years, Heorot has been under the siege of Grendel, a demonic creature that hunts down and devours Hrothgar's warriors in the night. This prolonged terror has taken a heavy toll on the aging king. He is shown not as a warrior capable of battling the monster himself, but as a ruler weighed down by grief and helplessness. Hrothgar is described as hoary-haired and old and sad. His wisdom is widely acknowledged, his counsel sought after, but his age has robbed him of the physical strength needed to confront the monster. He sits in his high seat in Heorot, but it is a seat of sorrow surrounded by the empty benches that once held his brave kinsmen. His face bears the marks of countless sleepless nights, of years spent in anxiety and mourning. His voice, though still authoritative, carries the tremor of his grief. The poem emphasizes his past glory, contrasting it with his present helplessness. He was once a mighty warrior, a successful king, but now he is reliant on the strength of others. This reliance is a source of quiet dignity, but also a poignant admission of his own physical decline. He welcomes Beowulf with genuine warmth and gratitude, seeing in the young Geat a hope that he himself can no longer embody. His eyes, though aged, hold a deep well of sorrow. Hrothgar's emotional state is central to his portrayal of old age. He expresses profound sorrow for his lost warriors, for the ruin that has befallen his hall, and for his inability to protect his people. His lament for Esher, his close advisor and friend who is taken by Grendel's mother, is particularly heart-wrenching. He speaks of Esher as his right-hand man, his shoulder companion, and his fellow counselor. His voice trembles as he describes the loss, a clear sign of his emotional and physical fragility. He reflects on the transient nature of life and the inevitability of death, a theme that resonates deeply in Old English elegiac poetry. His sermon to Beowulf after the defeat of Grendel, where he warns the young hero about the dangers of pride and the fleeting nature of earthly triumphs, further establishes his wisdom. This wisdom is hard-won, forged through years of experience and suffering. He tells Beowulf that strength will fail, and sickness or sword will eventually take everyone. He speaks from a place of deep understanding about mortality, a knowledge that only years can impart. His body is described subtly through his actions and limitations. He cannot stand against Grendel. He waits, he hopes, he despairs. The weight of his royal robes seems to press down on him, not as a symbol of authority, but as a heavy cloak of responsibility and grief. His hands, though still capable of bestowing gifts, are not those of a fighter. His gait is slow, his movements deliberate. The poignancy of Hrothgar's old age lies in his dignified acceptance of his limitations and his profound human vulnerability. Despite his royal status, he is a king who has seen too much sorrow, endured too much terror, and is now reduced to a state of anxious waiting. His old age is not a time of peaceful retirement, but a period of profound emotional and physical weariness, burdened by responsibility and loss. He embodies the weariness of a life lived long and burdened by immense responsibility and suffering. His tears, his sighs, and his quiet despair make him an enduring and deeply human figure. A powerful representation of old age as a period marked by profound wisdom, but also by an overwhelming sense of cumulative sorrow and helplessness. Number 2. The Wanderer, the Exeter Book. Among the stark and beautiful Anglo-Saxon elegies found in the Exeter Book, The Wanderer stands as a profoundly poignant meditation on old age loss and the isolating nature of a solitary existence. Like The Ruin, this poem explores themes of decay and impermanence, but here it is explicitly centered on the lived experience of an old man, a solitary exile who has lost everything and everyone he held dear. His old age is defined by relentless sorrow, a deep sense of an irrecoverable past, and the chilling emptiness of a world stripped of companionship. The speaker, a lone dweller, or solitary one, recounts his journey through life, marked by the loss of his lord, his kinsman, and his hall. He is a homeless man, cast out from his former life, forced to traverse the paths of exile. His very existence is a testament to the cumulative grief that has settled upon him with the passage of years. He speaks of his sorrow-laden heart, his weary mind, and the constant cold that permeates his existence, both literally and metaphorically. His physical description is subtle but powerful, conveyed through the effects of his solitary journey. He is hoary-headed, a clear sign of his advanced age. He has traveled over the seaways, enduring harsh weather, reflecting the physical hardship and endurance of an old man forced to wander. The cold waves and frost-bound earth are his constant companions, emphasizing the physical discomfort and exposure that define his old age. His body aches from the endless journey, from the lack of warmth and comfort that once defined his youth. The poem focuses heavily on the theme of ubi sunt, where are they? The wanderer laments the absence of his former comrades, the joyous feasts, the generosity of his lord, and the laughter that once filled his hall. He remembers how in youth his master gave him gifts, a poignant contrast to his current state of utter destitution. He is haunted by memories, by visions of his past life that flicker like ghosts before his eyes, only to vanish, leaving him in utter darkness. These memories, rather than offering comfort, intensify his sense of loss and isolation. He describes the feeling of having no one to whom he can express his innermost thoughts, no one to share his secret heart. He is a man who must guard his heart in silence, for fear of betraying his sorrow or showing weakness. This emotional repression contributes to his profound sense of loneliness. He feels the weight of his age, the knowledge that his glory days are long past, and that his future holds nothing but continued wandering and eventual death. The wisdom he gains from his experiences is a bleak and hard-won knowledge that all earthly things are transient, that riches pass away, that friends perish, and that men and women are gone. He looks upon this middle earth, the world, and sees only ruin, decay, and desolation. The very structures that once stood proud, the walls and towers, are now windblown and crumbling. He sees the dead warriors in his mind's eye, their graves overgrown, a reflection of his own inevitable end. His vision is one of universal impermanence. He speaks of how the world is old, reflecting his own experience of age as a process of decay and unraveling. His mind is full of sorrow, his spirit heavy. He carries the weight of a lifetime of loss, a burden that presses down on him, making his steps slow and his thoughts bleak. The darkness of his thoughts matches the darkness of his surroundings. The physical aspects of his old age are not explicitly detailed as a catalogue of ailments, but are conveyed through the relentless cold, the difficult journeys, and the weariness of spirit that pervades the poem. His once strong hands are now cold, his once clear voice now a whisper. He is a man whose body is failing him just as the world around him is failing, crumbling into ruin. The poignancy of The Wanderer lies in its raw depiction of extreme old age as a period of profound solitude, relentless grief, and a chilling awareness of mortality. The old man is not merely physically frail. He is spiritually exhausted, stripped of all earthly comforts and companionship. He is a living embodiment of the memento mori, a reminder of death and the transient nature of human existence. His voice echoing from the past is a deeply human lament for a lost world, a haunting cry of an old man adrift in a sea of sorrow, seeking only the solace of a final rest, making his portrayal one of the most moving and unforgettable in medieval literature. Number 1. The Wife of Bath. Geoffrey Chaucer's The Canterbury Tales. In the vibrant, often scandalous world of Geoffrey Chaucer's The Canterbury Tales, no character embodies the complexities, contradictions, and profound poignancy of old age, quite like the unforgettable Wife of Bath. Alisoun, as she is named, is a woman of formidable experience, having navigated 5 marriages and countless love affairs. Her old age is not a quiet retreat, but a boisterous, unapologetic engagement with life, even as she confronts the physical realities of her declining years and the societal expectations placed upon aging. Her portrayal is poignant because it shows a woman fiercely clinging to her desires and autonomy in an age that often dismissed or demonized the elderly, especially women, while simultaneously grappling with the melancholic truths of lost youth and dwindling power. The Wife of Bath, with her gap teeth, bold red stockings, and broad hat, is a figure of striking presence. She is a master weaver, financially independent and utterly unafraid to speak her mind, especially on the subjects of marriage, sex, and women's sovereignty. But beneath her confident exterior and woven into the fabric of her extensive prologue lies a deep engagement with the passage of time and its effects on her body and spirit. She openly acknowledges her old age, and her words are frank, sometimes brutally so. She states directly, "But age, alas, that all will envenom, hath bereft me of my beauty and my pith." This direct admission immediately establishes the physical toll. Pith here refers to her strength, her vigor, her very essence. She knows that her physical attractiveness, a tool she expertly wielded in her youth, is now diminished. Her face is wrinkled, her skin hath lost its color. She laments that the flower of her age is gone, leaving her with the chaff that left over husks. This agricultural metaphor powerfully illustrates the decay of youth and beauty, a poignant admission from a woman who clearly valued both. She contrasts her youthful prowess in bed, her chambray of Venus, with her current physical state. While she still possesses desire, she understands that her body is no longer as capable or as alluring as it once was. She jokes, often bodily, about her old bones and her oldie body. But there is an underlying current of melancholy in these pronouncements. She recognizes that the days of easily attracting men are over, and that her power must now come from her wealth, her wit, and her experience, rather than her physical charms. Her reflections on her past marriages are tinged with both triumph and a subtle wistfulness for the early days. She speaks of her first 3 husbands, whom she describes as good men, because they were wealthy and easily manipulated, as being dead. Her 4th husband, who cheated on her, and her 5th, Jankin, who was young and eventually became her beloved, also represent stages of her life. Her relationship with Jankin, despite its initial violence and eventual affection, marks her later years, a period where she finds a love that is deeper than the transactional relationships of her younger days. But even this love, like her own youth, is finite. The poignancy also comes from her defiant spirit in the face of aging. While she laments her physical decline, she refuses to let it diminish her spirit or her desire for life. She speaks of still wanting to have a board game, to experience joy and companionship despite her years. She asserts her right to live fully, to marry again if she chooses, and to continue to seek pleasure. This defiance against the conventional wisdom of her time, which often relegated old women to lives of piety and quiet resignation, makes her portrayal all the more striking. She recognizes that her old age brings with it a certain kind of wisdom born from her vast experience. She is a self-proclaimed expert on marriage and love, and her prologue is a testament to her accumulated knowledge. Yet, this wisdom is not a serene, detached contemplation, but a pragmatic, often cynical understanding of human nature, particularly male nature. Her experience, as she famously states, is right enough for me. Her description of the hoot blood of youth, now cooled by time, further emphasizes the physical transformation. She misses the passions and energies of her younger self. She knows that time is her ultimate enemy, that the time for many a year is spent. Her gaily clad attire and her robust laughter are a shield, a defiant front against the inner knowledge that her body is deteriorating. The wife of Bath's old age is a vibrant, sometimes messy reality. She embodies the struggle of an individual, particularly a woman, to retain her identity and agency as her physical self declines. She is a woman who, despite the physical ravages of time, remains fiercely alive, a testament to the enduring human spirit. Her lament for her lost youth is palpable, but so is her unyielding determination to make the most of the time she has left. She is a powerful, complex, and deeply poignant figure, a medieval woman who embraces her aging with a mix of sorrow, defiance, and a stubborn refusal to be silenced, making her the most unforgettable and moving depiction of old age in medieval literature.